Eagles paraded down Broad Street just a couple of months ago. Now we know the path it'll take to get there again with this year's schedule that was released last night. Over the next 30 minutes, we're going to go through it game by game, picking winners every single week. As we welcome you here to Bird's Huddle, presented by Toyota, the official automotive partner of the NFL, alongside Barrett Brooks and Dave Zangaro. I'm Amy Fadul. We're not going to waste any time. We're going to dive right in. Let's check out the schedule. We start with the first half of it. Cowboys at home, we knew that. Chiefs on the road, those are just out of the gates. Then it's Rams, Bucks, Broncos. Thursday nighter against the Giants, road game at Minnesota. Then the Giants again. This is kind of a weird little quirk this year.
Right.
So let's start with week one. Banner goes up. Eagles have the Cowboys. They have not seen a banner in 30 years. Barrett, how's that one go?
Well, at least they'll see one this year.
Yeah, buddy.
It just happens to be in our stadium. Poetic justice. It couldn't be a better mark for me to watch. And that's what I'm going to be focused on the entire time. Not the banner going up, but Jerry Jones and his suite up there and just looking at it. I wonder, usually the owners don't be in the same suite, but I wonder if our guy will be in the same suite as Jerry Jones.
No.
That would be amazing.
Jeffrey's going to be down the field watching it go up.
Exactly. He's going to be celebrating.
That's right.
That's my banner.
That's right.
They win out of the gates?
Oh, no question they win out of the gates. We're just a better team. In fact, let me say it, the Eagles have the best team in the NFL, bar none. Even with the defensive players they just acquired, I really think that they really have it. Top-class organization, Eagles win.
All right, Dave?
Yeah, I think maybe Dallas will be a little better with a healthy Dak Prescott. And you just assume in week one he'll be healthy, but even a healthy Dak last year was not very good. The interceptions have been a really big problem for him. Until he figures that out, I don't know how good he can be. I don't know how good the Cowboys can be.
All right, 1-0 out of the gates, week two. Trip to Arrowhead, always a tough place to play. Super Bowl rematch, which, of course, against the Chiefs. Surely they're going to be seeking a little revenge. It doesn't matter as much, but it still matters, Dave. They get a little revenge, the Chiefs do?
I think they do.
Yeah.
I have this as a loss, and I think the one important thing that if you want some hope in this game for the Eagles, obviously they just beat them pretty soundly in the Super Bowl, but also Kansas City coming off the Brazil game in week one. So a long travel schedule for them. We don't know how they're going to handle that, but going to Kansas City is a tough place to play. You know they'll be amped up for that one, and Kansas City's still a good team. They still have Patrick Mahomes. They still have Andy Reid. I think we all agree the Eagles are not going to go undefeated this season. So you're talking about a really good football team. Where are the losses? And this is one where I think it's very conceivable they get an L.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go with a loss, too, simply because they still have a chip on their shoulder, the size of the Rock of Gibraltar. They're thinking, all right, they beat us the way they beat us. They beat us handedly. They whooped our tail. And plus, they're playing in Arrowhead. That's the loudest stadium outside a closed dome stadium you're going to play in the home of the Chiefs, and you can feel it rumbling in your stomach. That's how loud it is out there. And plus, Andy Reid, I don't think it's necessarily the talent level we have, but I think game planning, what they have as far as all the little integral stuff that they have running their offense and, the defense that they have, I think that'll be the reason why they beat us this time. And plus, our starters don't play in the preseason. They'll still be a little rusty.
Agree to disagree on that one. I say they go undefeated. I'm going to say it. No team played the Eagles closer in the playoffs than the Rams did. That was in the divisional round last year. Week 3, they come east for 1 o'clock game. Hey, a fun 1 o'clock game. Eagles win that one, B?
And I say yes. Not because the Rams have a chip on their shoulder. I think we have a chip on our shoulder. Us all are here. You hear them, yak, yak,
yeah, we almost beat you, almost beat you.
Yeah, come on now. Serious, realistically, I can't see them going out and trying to beat us, Yes, they have a squad. Jared Verse has still yet to stop talking, and I'm going to tell you the truth, he can talk because he backed it up. Even with talking last year, he backed it up in the playoff game against us. He had a great game against us. I think Fisk and him can rush the passers. They'll be good. We play in the same conditions, but they're still talking mess, but I think we beat them up because of that.
Yeah, obviously they're a good defense. We know what they can bring at times offensively. How do you like this one shaking out?
Yeah, it was a really tight game at the end of that one. But remember what Saquon did to them in both of these games. He ran all over the Rams. I don't think they had the answer for him. So I think maybe it's a tight game, but I think ultimately Saquon gives them the edge. And I kind of like Jared Verse. I like that someone's willing to get a little chippy and talk some trash. I gave him some credit when he came to Philly. He was walking around the field, and Jalen Carter had some words with him. I like that he didn't back down from it. I think that's fun to have a rivalry that's not in the division.
Right, it's good stuff there. Tampa Bay, we all know it's been a house of horrors for the Eagles and Jalen Hurts. They visit the Bucs week 4 once again. Do they finally exorcise those demons, Dave?
Maybe, but
that's a no.
Yeah, I have this as a loss. I think there are much better teams than the Buccaneers on the Eagles' schedule this year, but sometimes there's just a team that has their way with you, and they kind of have whatever it takes to be, and I feel like Todd Bowles has that for Jalen Hurts and this Eagles offense. In week 4 down there, it's hot. We saw that last year. It was like dangerously hot. I remember C.J. Gardner-Johnson, after the game, they had to dip him in a cold tub just to get his body temp down. I think weather and the heat will be a factor in that game. Like I said, I think the Eagles are a good team. They're going to win a lot of games. You're trying to find where are the losses. And I think week 4 in Tampa, that feels like a loss to me.
Yeah, it's our nemesis. Our Achilles heel when it comes to playing down there, in Raymond James Stadium. I think it's a loss also, so I hate to say it.
You got to get some in there, unless you, like me, and say it's 18.
A lot of W's coming here, Amy.
17?
I promise.
Week 5, Broncos, Bo Nix, they come to town. They were a surprise playoff team last year. Do they have any surprises for the Eagles this year, baby?
They do have a surprise. In fact, this is my sleeper team this year in the NFL is them and the Bears. But I'm looking at this team as being a team that the Eagles might look over and look past them to see the next opponent. And this may be a loss for the Eagles. I'm saying it's going to be a loss for the Eagles. So, yes,
all right.
Peyton comes in and beats the Eagles in our stadium. But, hey, just hold off. I got you. Hold off.
Rough start.
Yes.
All right. Hopefully it gets better. Who knows? Barrett's guy. That's why you got to keep watching, Dave.
I think this is a win. I understand what Barrett's saying here.
Yeah.
Because sometimes there's like a weird game, a team you don't see very often. You're not really prepared for it. And look, we know that defense is really good. Sean Payton got a lot out of Bo Nix last year, but still a young quarterback facing a Vic Fangio defense. I'll take those odds.
Yeah,
I'll take Vic against a relatively inexperienced quarterback.
Me too. Week 6, Eagles play Thursday night at the Giants. Who's going to be the quarterback? Russell Wilson, Jackson Dart, Jameis Winston, Tommy DeVito. I mean, come on. That would be amazing if it is. Is it a win, though, you think, Dave? I'll start with you.
Is it a win? Yeah, it's a win. That's not the question. The question is who's the quarterback in Week 6 and in Week 8. I think Week 6, it'll still be Russell Wilson. But, man, that Giants schedule, you think the Eagles have a tough schedule. That Giants schedule is insane,
it's crazy.
And they stink. At least the Eagles are the best team in the league with a tough schedule. The Giants might be one of the worst teams in the league. They have to go through an absolute gauntlet. It's probably going to get pretty ugly for the G-men this year.
It's a loss.
There you go. Vikings, 14 games they won last season. Sam Darnold, of course, the quarterback this year. They're going to turn to their first-round pick from 2024, J.J. McCarthy. Eagles head to Minnesota Week 7. Do they leave with a win, B?
I think they do leave with a win. J.J. McCarthy's not going to be ready. Even though it's his second year in the league, he's not at a point where he's caught up to what it is playing in the NFL yet. He didn't play last year. He was hurt all last year, so he has a little catching up to do. I think this is a win for the Eagles, even though that defense is going to be pretty good down in Minnesota.
And Dave, you got it as a win as well.
I do. Remember what I said about Bo Nix, young quarterback against Vic Fangio? Well, McCarthy, even less experienced. I'll pretty much take Vic in any of those games against young quarterbacks like that. I think he's going to be able to throw things at them that they're not able to prepare for, and I think that gives them the advantage. The Vikings last year won 14 games. I can't remember a less scary 14-win team.
Right, yeah. They didn't intimidate anybody in that one. Hey, right back at it against the Giants, Week 8 this time. Obviously, it's the second time in 3 weeks, but this one's at home. Both of you wins again.
Yes, a win.
It's the Giants. Will it be the same quarterback as Week 6 as Week 8?
It doesn't matter. It's still the Giants.
No, I don't think. Look,
that's the thing. I don't think it's going to be.
I don't think it will be. Russell Wilson at this point in his career is not what he used to be. I think he'll be better than Daniel Jones, but how much? It's not going to be enough.
That's a low bar right there. That's a low bar. All right, let's recap at this point. Eagles enter the Week 9 bye. Barrett, he's got his picks on the left. 3 losses already.
Yeah,
says it gets better. All right.
5-3. That's my pick right
Bucs, Broncos. 5-3 entering the bye. Dave's picks on the right. 6-2 entering the bye. All right, we got the second half coming up as we check out the playbook for you. Here's what's on tap. Playbook is brought to you by Supercuts. Coming up, we're going to continue to look at the schedule, dive deeper in some primetime NFC North battles against the Packers and the Lions and the late season showdowns against the Bills and Commanders. How many more wins will the Eagles rack up? We're going to continue to pick. This is Bird's Huddle, presented by Toyota, the official automotive partner of the NFL. All right, we're back with a look at how our crew saw the first half shaken out. Barrett, 5-8 before the bye. Dave has them entering that 5-3, pardon me. That'd be amazing if they got that many games in before the bye. 5-3 before the Week 9 bye. Dave has them entering that week 6-2. The only difference, Barrett has a loss to the Broncos in Week 5. Broncos, let's ride. So we look ahead to the second half of the schedule. Starts 4 games in 18 days. Monday nighter at the Packers. Short week Sunday night against the Lions at home. Trip to Dallas, take on the Cowboys before Black Friday home game against the Bears. 3 tough ones in the season. Commanders, Bills, Commanders. A couple of weeks apart right there. So let's start with the Pack. How does that game go, Dave? I'll start with you.
I think that's a win. They've been so good under Nick Sirianni coming off the bye. They're 4-0. Whenever he has extra time to game plan, to figure out what he wants to do, the Eagles have been very good. So I think that's a tough game. Obviously a playoff rematch like a lot of these games are this season, but I like the Eagles in that one.
And it's on the road. That's a big deal, but you like them in this one too.
Yeah, I do like them. And even though they added some great players, as far as receivers, a receiver named Savion Williams, he's one of them guys can do everything, So, and Golden from Texas, really good receiver, fast receiver. So they have some weapons, but Jordan Love is going to be their quarterback. And defensively, I don't think they jump on board as being as dominant they need to be. So I think they'll lose just because of their defense.
All right, sticking with the NFC North. Lions, Eagles. We thought this was going to be the NFC title game last year. The Lions did not hold up their end of the bargain. What happens Week 11 at the Link, Barrett?
I think that they lost their defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, which puts them in a position where they're not going to be as good. Play callers, new play caller on the offensive side of the ball. The defensive side of the ball, you got an Aaron Glenn disciple. I already didn't like their defense play calling from him. Although they get Aiden back, I don't think they have enough to really beat this Eagles team. The Eagles are the best team in the NFL, and they'll beat up on that Lions team, especially here at home.
I might agree with Dave on this one. This is always a tough one.
Well, yeah, it's good to be wrong with Dave.
All right.
Look, I think it helps you get the Lions at home. They're a much different team at Ford Field, even though that didn't save them in the playoffs. But they're coming here. But the Eagles have a short week. And I think playing the Lions, that team, the brand of football they play, very physical like the Eagles, but playing that team on a short week, not a great recipe. I know it's close to the bye week, so maybe that counteracts some of it. But I have that as a loss. And really, for me, it's their only real loss at home this year.
All right. You both had wins over the Cowboys at home. Week 12, the Eagles are in Dallas. Do they complete the sweep, Dave?
I think they do. And, for a long time, Dak Prescott was so good against the Eagles. It felt like there was some kind of mental block whenever they played him. I just don't get the sense that that's in place anymore. The Eagles have exercised that. I think they're going to be able to win both of these games against the Cowboys. Look, maybe the Cowboys are a little bit better this year with their quarterback back in the fold, but I also think there's a very combustible nature to that locker room Dallas has put together, especially with George Pickens now in the mix. And by week 12, if things aren't going very well down there, I could see it starting to implode a little bit.
Week 12, if
For
they're
sure.
4-0, they could be 4-0 in the division.
No, Pickens wants the ball. CeeDee Lamb wants the ball. They got a quarterback that can get them to him during the season, but I just don't see a real running game for this Dallas team. They did great by drafting offensive linemen, but they're still Dallas, and I think, just like Dave said, they're going to implode right then.
All right. After feasting on Thanksgiving, they have a game right away. Bears on Black Friday. This one at home. So, Barrett, do you like obviously the Bears and the Eagles over the Bears at home?
I do see the Eagles beating the Bears up, even though they got some really good talent. They got Loveland tight end this year in the draft. I just think that right now they're trying to get the coaching. They got a new coach now. They just don't have enough to do it. They got a good defense, but do they have enough to beat this team? They're about 1.5 to 2 years away from being a team that can compete in the NFC.
All right, Dave also has them winning, but let's move on to Week 14. Monday nighter, Los Angeles on the road. Jim Harbaugh's Chargers. Jalen Hurts out to your guy, Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I joke about this. I've been a Herbert guy for a while. He makes that very tough on me.
Yeah, he does.
Man, he shows up small in big situations. I like the Eagles in this game against the Chargers. I think they're going to pull out the win. And as long as Jim Harbaugh is there, as annoying as he is, I think the Chargers are going to be a pretty solid team, but I don't know what their ceiling is. I feel like the Eagles are going to go there, and I feel like Eagles fans are going to take over SoFi Stadium for that one.
All right, you also have them winning B.
Absolutely.
So let's check on to the Raiders, Week 15. The Raiders come here to Philly. The return of Chip Kelly, who's the new offensive coordinator out there for the Vegas Raiders. I'm sure he'll get a nice warm welcome. Everybody loved his time here. Finally remembered.
Chip Kelly has a new running back right now, the best running back in the draft, but still, what do they have? They're still the Las Vegas Raiders. They don't do a lot of stuff well. The Eagles just a superior team. They're going to beat up on them like they stole something.
I mean, Chip Kelly.
I'm excited to watch his offense again in
the
league, but I don't think that's going to go well for him.
Ashton Genty, I want to see him play.
All right, I like to see that too. All right, we're back to wrap up the final 3 games of the season. Coming up on the other side, this is Birds Huddle, brought to you by Toyota. Final 3 games to go. Week 16, we finally get the Eagles and the Commanders. First of 2 meetings in 3 weeks. NFC Championship rematch. So, do the Birds come out on top again, Dave?
I do. I'm looking forward to this game. I hate that we have to wait this long to get it. I think it's really dumb, honestly, that they backloaded these games because there's a real potential that they don't mean as much as they should. But I do think the Eagles are the better team. I think Washington has a good young quarterback that has a bright future. I don't think their roster is as good as the Eagles.
You got them 4-0. This would be 5-0. That's a win, right?
Yeah, he's good, but they've got a whole offseason to study his tape, so they'll know what to do. Defensive coordinators don't know what to do with him. And, they did try to go out there. They go out and get Will Harris from, New Orleans, and then, they already have Marshawn Lattimore from New Orleans to try to stop this passing game. It's just not enough. Debo Samuels will be a non-factor. Eagles win.
All right. Week 17 trip to Buffalo to play the Bills, reigning MVP, Josh Allen. Barrett, I know you said that Jalen Hurts is going to be your MVP this year. You think he's going to have a good chance. What are the chances he's going to take down Josh?
He's not going to take down Josh. But he's still going to win MVP. But Josh and them, they have, more to play for. They'll still be trying to win. I think we have everything wrapped up even before the last 2 games of the season. So, even though I have them right now, saying they're going to be 13-4.
Yeah.
These 2 last games kind of messed me up a little bit because they're not going to need to win, but, they might not play all their starters the last 2 games.
Tough place to play, Buffalo, Week 17.
Might be some weather out there, Amy.
Yeah, just a smidge.
Yeah, we talked about Tampa a little bit earlier.
Go out there. Ooh.
And the heat and humidity. This is the opposite, right? It's going to be cold. I think Josh Allen is just built to play in that type of weather. I think the Bills are used to it. I think that's probably a loss. I think the Eagles will have something to play for still in this game. Maybe it's not like the division anymore. Maybe it's a seeding type thing. I think they'll have something to play for. I think it might be a good game. You remember a couple years ago, that overtime game, that was great
game.
entertainment. So I'm hoping we see another good game like that.
Jalen took over and won the game himself.
That was a great game.
It can happen. I think these are 2 of the best teams in the league.
Yep.
All right, Week 18, we wrap it up, regular season ending with the Commanders again. Second time in 3 weeks, perhaps another Hard Rock takeover. Noted Philly establishment, the Hard Rock Cafe, their fans scaring us by taking over.
Is there like a Planet Hollywood that I don't know about?
Yeah, maybe.
In Center City? Yeah.
I don't know. There's probably a Wendy's somewhere out there that they can gather in. But
come on.
Is this game going to mean anything?
I don't think it means anything, but I think they'll still win.
All right.
Just
the Tanner McKee game?
Yeah. There you go. If he's going to be on the squad, he still may be traded. For that trade deadline, we don't know. But
okay.
Yeah,
that's a different show.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like I said, with that last game with the Bills we just talked about.
Yeah.
I think that might be a precursor for the Super Bowl.
Okay. Dave, you have them losing this one.
Yeah, it's a loss in a game that I don't think will matter for them, and that's why it is very annoying that the NFL scheduled it this way because, the upside is that maybe it all comes down, the division comes down to this game, and that will be great drama, but I think it's more likely that this game won't mean something to both or at least one of these 2 teams.
Right. All right, so Barrett, you had 5-3 before the break. Dave, 6-2 before the break. And you can see there you shake out a couple more losses for Dave after the break, but Barrett, you only have 1 loss after the break. 13-4, Dave, 12-5.
What's their last loss also?
The last loss
of the season.
That's it. Their only loss because they're going to roll 1 more through.